A really, really good day for us at K-State in the recruiting world. But I first just want to start off with um, how heartbroken we were to find out about Coach Dana Dimmel yesterday. And I didn't know Dana as well as I know some of you and some of our staff members around here, but he was a true K-Stater. And my interactions with him over the last few years when we'd run into each other at the football convention and stuff were always really positive of appreciating what I was doing for his program, and he's one that laid the foundation here. And I know there's a lot of people hurting out there, and we're praying for he and his family. It was a tough day yesterday, so thoughts and prayers are with the Dimmel family. From today, we had a really good day, and we even had a couple of guys flip last night back to us, or we got last night. It's a strange world of recruiting right now, especially with where the signing date is, especially with coaching changes. It's different. We're not on the road. Like we could be right after the last game of the season. Now we're in house. The signing day is really quick. It's a dead period really right now, but we were really excited and happy about. We're going to sign 25 plus kids. I still think there's one or so out there that we'll get this afternoon, but we had 5 kids from the state of Kansas, which we're really excited about. 5 kids from the state of Texas, 4 from Florida, 3 from Missouri, 1 from the states of Arizona, Arkansas, Georgia, Maryland, Nebraska, New York, North Carolina, and Ohio. We needed to do have some answers on the defensive side. We signed 5 linebackers and 5 safeties. A couple of those safeties could play corner, so I think they're more DBs. Some are strictly safeties, but some could play multiple positions. We signed 3 offensive linemen, 3 wide receivers, 2 cornerbacks, 2 defensive ends, 1 defensive tackle, 1 quarterback, a punter, a kicker, 1 punter and kicker, 1 running back, and 1 tight end. So we hit all the positions that we wanted to from the high school developmental side of things, as well as a couple of transfers. And we know that we're moving into the next phase of some transfer portal, but we're still going to build this through the high school ranks, and for us to have 23, and I still think there's going to be an addition or 2 to that, 23 high school kids signed and 2 community college guys. We're really thrilled about the class that we were able to sign, and I'm sure you probably have a question or 2.
Let's start with Lincoln Cure. What does he offer this team, and how excited were you when you got that call?
Really thrilled. You get a 5-star in-state, and there's not many of those that come from the state of Kansas, and thrilled for the Cure family, thrilled for our program, fan base, whatever it may be, that the kid did a great job. I thought Lincoln did a good job of doing his due diligence, and that's what young men are doing now, and I'm good with that. There was conversations the whole time, but in the end, it came down to what his heart told him it was going to come down to, of where I committed to. I went through this whole process in the summer and found the school that I wanted to be at, and how we're going to utilize him. He can be a flex guy. He can be a kind of a pseudo wide receiver as he develops from a weight and strength standpoint to be an inline tight end. I think that his versatility is going to be so important for what we do offensively, and we can highlight guys like that. And the fact that he's just, he's one of the best athletes in the country, not in the state, in the country. Speed, size, strength, ability to jump, run, all those things. So we're excited about getting him.
To Florida, as you mentioned, and add a few defensive players from there. And for a state where everyone's trying to get players from Florida, how did it come about to be able to land those guys?
That was really important for us. We've had some ties, and we've had some really pretty good success down in Florida. We know that we're going to try to find some skill players and defensive backs, and we were able to get 3 defensive backs out of there. And 1 wide receiver. Serious Stinyard is a kid that we had on campus here in the summertime, really enjoyed his OV, and then chose a different school. That school had since lost their head coach, and so we kind of got back on him late in the weekend when some things transpired. And I know that Klanderman had done a phenomenal job of just continuing to stay in contact with him. But for us to get serious, he was one of the top guys on our board last December and January. To kind of lose him, but then he and his family feeling so comfortable when he became available because his previous school relieved their head coach. It was really good for us and exciting for the family to say, I've got a place that I can call home.
Lincoln, really quick, exactly when did you discover that he was coming to Kansas State, and what was your initial reaction? Was it
okay? Let's go back on this now, D. Scott. When I knew he was coming was I think the last weekend of the OV period in June, right? That's when he told me he was coming to K-State. And we all know that all these kids are still getting contacted throughout the season. Everybody we signed got contacted, not just Link. Everybody we signed got contacted throughout the season. But we shared a really special moment, he and I did, in the bleachers here. It was really cool. And he knew that this was home. Okay, then we go through the season, and a lot of things transpire. I was able to go out and watch him play, which was really neat for me. Coach Lepak went to Goodland prior to us going to Colorado, and that was fun to see him perform, continued conversations and stuff. I knew that a lot of other people were having conversations with him. And I gave him some space, too, over the last week. I gave him some space to figure some things out. He knew how I felt about him. And then whether it was last night or early this morning, I think it all probably came back to him that, you know what, this is the best place for him, and I'm going to stick with it. He'll probably explain some of that. I don't know exactly the time for him. But obviously this morning we were real excited.
You do a great job developing quarterbacks. What do you see in Dylan Duff?
Kid's a stud. I've been so impressed with Dylan Duff, the person. He's playing in a state championship game this weekend. He's got a great family support system. He's at a really good high school that does a good job developing people. The fact that I think he had Dylan's going to be mad if I miss this, 6 or 8 3-pointers in the state championship basketball game. I think most of them were in the first half of last year's state championship game in basketball. Guy's an athlete, and he spins it. He can run it. He's a leader. He's reached out to so many of these kids in the class. That's what you want your quarterback to do. And so he's going to be a tremendous fit here, and build lasting relationships. He and Coach Wells did, myself, his parents and stuff. It's kind of fun. So we're really excited. He just needs to finish off this weekend with a big W.
I want to back up again. And what was this week like?
It's only Wednesday.
Oh, my God, it is. Since Lincoln went on his last trip,
yeah.
What was it like trying to defend that commitment?
Trying to defend the commitment, or
keep him committed?
Well, the fact that we're continuing to communicate with him, and we knew he went on another trip, but we continued to communicate with him and told him where we saw him here, how we could utilize him, not just on the field, but maybe from a cultural standpoint, from a development standpoint. I still think we've got the most tight end touchdowns of anybody in the country. So that's easy to have tangible evidence of how we're going to utilize you. And just the relationships. Man, there's a ton of built relationships for an awful long time, and trust in that. And I think we all know that recruiting in 2018 to 2022 to what it is now is changing. And so young men are going to go because they want everybody to commit so quickly. I see all the 26s that are committing and even some 27s that are committing. That's a long time now. That's a long time. And you think of the guys we had committed in June. That's a long time. And so obviously they're young people that are going to have different things go through their mind, and that's okay. I mean, they need to make sure that it's right, because I want to make sure that this is a 4 to 5 year decision, that we're not going to have any hiccups. That, you know what, on your worst day, you better knock on my door and say this place sucks, because I'm sure Fitz, at some time this place really stunk for you coming here. Probably as much beer as you drank, it never was a bad day around here. But if there could have been, I hope you would have probably talked to somebody. And that's what we tell these guys. Not every day is going to be a good day. And these relationships that you've built need to stay lasting so that we can help you through those bad days.
One of 5 Kansas recruits. Can you talk about the other guys a little bit?
Yeah. Brock Heath was an offensive lineman from Overland Park that came to camp. We were really excited about. I think he's one of the best offensive linemen in the Midwest. Long, very athletic. I think that excited me about Brock is he played both ways at a big school. When you play both ways at Blue Valley Northwest, you're a friggin' good football player. And we're going to use him as an offensive lineman, but I think he's got a high ceiling. Martell Jackson, a corner from Derby, came to camp. Long, athletic, can really run. We've had really good success with Derby, and Coach Clark, as former player here, has really helped us there. McGuire Richmond, a linebacker from Blue Valley High School, that we've had really good success at Blue Valley High School. I think the kid's one of the best athletes in the state. He's a tremendous golfer. He's a tremendous football player. He's a really good tackler. He can play a number of different spots at linebacker. He had a really good year, and I think he's one of the better leaders. I know the head coach at Blue Valley High, Alan Terrell. He's one of my closest friends, been a close friend of mine way before I was a head football coach. And so we're really excited about getting him. And then Ashton Moore. So excited for Ashton and his family. For us to have the chance to have a Moore on this team, man, we were never going to pass that up. And Ashton came here and competed his tail off at camp, and I knew he was a good football player. And you look at the pedigree of what his brother did. I saw the way he competed, and I said, Austin may be mad. Ashton is a better athlete than Austin was coming out of high school. Not even close. Sorry about that, Austin. You okay? Good. But he's going to wrestle this year and have a chance to win a state championship. And so I'm excited for him because he's a competitor, and like a lot of these guys, multi-sport guys, and that's what we're still looking for. And so I couldn't be more excited for the entire Moore family.
I'm originally from Ohio, so I'm going to ask,
Yeah.
what attracted you to Noah King?
He came to camp. He was intrigued by Kansas State through a lot of different people that maybe we had some ties to. But I was impressed with Noah, rather than just saying, okay, I'm from Cincinnati, you're either going to offer me or not offer me. And Klieman did a phenomenal job and said, we'd love to have you come out here, but we'd like to have you come to camp. And he said, I'll come and compete. That kid sends me videos all the time of him working out, and he's a football junkie. And if you want to play for Coach Klieman, you better be a football junkie. Because you better love football, and Noah King loves football. And I think what Noah brings is the ability to play multiple positions. He could play corner. He could play any of the 3 safety spots that we have. He's a tremendous competitor. And for a kid from Ohio, I thought it was really neat how he was one that was contacting so many guys in this class. And leadership you're always looking for out of that freshman class. We're not asking you to lead the whole football team. You're not ready for that. But you do need to lead your class. And if you lead your class, then all of a sudden people are going to gravitate to you in the next class and in the next class. And that's a guy like Noah.
Montario Elston, is that just another home run hitter type?
Yeah, absolutely. Can do a lot of things. Catch the ball, return for us. Explosive kid, phenomenal high school that he played at. Had high success at that high school, and I believe he's a mid-year that really helps us get that running back involved quickly to see if he can help us. And that's the thing that I think we all know, unless maybe you're an offensive lineman that's undersized or a defensive lineman that's undersized. And I know we may have a couple of those guys that have some development to do. all these kids are looking for an opportunity to play early. And do we promise any kid they're going to start for us? No. But our track record has been freshmen have been contributors for us and played for us, whether that's on special teams or offense or defense. And if you can come in mid-year, it gives you a better opportunity. If you can't come in mid-year, then we got to have you bust your tail in June and July before we get to fall camp so that you can have an opportunity. Because if you're good enough to help us and you're mature enough with your body and mentally, we've got to play those guys.
Day bumped up a couple weeks. Did you like it?
Yes. Couple reasons. If not, we'd all be on the road right now, and we'd be sitting in a line of cars outside a kid's house just waiting for your turn. It's so much different. I talk to basketball coaches. I don't think it's like as bad as that in basketball, where we're just sitting out front waiting for your turn to go through, even committed, uncommitted, not quite sure. Everybody makes one last run at different people, especially now with the coaching changes. That's probably the only thing that was a negative to it, was people got let go on Sunday or Monday, and what are those kids doing when the signing day is Wednesday and you can't go anywhere? It's not really fair, but there's nothing really that is fair or common sense in college athletics right now that we all know about. But the fact that, for our coaches to be in-house these next few weeks, to focus on our football team and our guys, as well as to be able to be available and not worry about, hey, why did you go visit me? You didn't go see those two kids, or if I'm the kid that I didn't get seen, because we couldn't see everybody in those 2 week period, in that 2 week period. So I hope this one's here to stay, and it'll be interesting to see how many sign in February now. There'll still be some, but how many of those guys wait? Because now that's an awful long time to wait, even though nobody can be out in December.
Chris, how many of these players do you expect to be on campus next semester?
Maddie? Come on, Maddie Gage. You got to be a part of it. Do you want Maddie to come up here? She'd love to field questions. Is it so? Yeah, more than half. More than half. You have to pay for them.
We don't always see a kicker or a punter in a signing day. What stands out about this one?
Cub Patton. Just gotta love the name, man. Cub Patton. He's from the Lubbock area, and Coach Wells knew about him. And we have a really good special teams coordinator, Nate Katzer, that developed relationship. And we lose Chris, and we needed to get somebody in here to compete with Leighton. So I'm excited for him. He's one of the mid-year guys, and so he'll get to go through the academic part of it, the conditioning part of it, getting around the players, getting a chance to kick in spring ball and stuff. But they don't probably go as noticed when they're specialists. But we were excited about it. Cubs got a cannon for a leg.
Strategy-wise, I'm just wondering, any more in recruiting, how do you go about staying in contact with a player that you have committed for a long time, and then also committing with somebody like somebody you flip late who has committed somewhere else? How do you manage those two situations?
We have our recruiting staff does a tremendous job with kind of weekly call list where you're calling certain guys each week, but we're rotating those other guys so that it's not just Joe Klieman reaching out to Noah King. Now we're going to throw Van on there, myself on there, Standard on there, somebody in the recruiting office on there. Just getting a little bit different flavor or different conversation. I think our recruiting staff does a phenomenal job, and Maddie does a phenomenal job connecting with the parents and continuing that dialogue all the time to answer questions. But you're always with the other guys that you've had a connection with. When I say a connection, probably a visit to campus, whether that was officially or unofficially, but for sure the official guys that, we visited in June that maybe we didn't get, of keeping track of those guys, wishing them luck on a game, or maybe connecting with them by phone, a letter, something to just say, if something happens, we would still have an interest, because it's, as we all know, this is really fluid. You know, we were lucky. We got everybody we thought we were going to sign +3. I mean, we were fortunate in what we were able to do, and I think that's a credit to our staff, our recruiting staff, people like Maddie, to continue to communicate with these people. But not always is it like that. You know, you see too much of the flips, and things, and then that starts to become kind of the in vogue thing to do. And so I think we do a really good job of giving kids space, but also communicating with the ones that have committed and the ones we've had relationships with.
RJ Collins is another guy that seems to have been pretty vocal about engaging with the other
Absolutely.
guys. What do you like about him?
Leadership, for starters, personality. With RJ, he's a fun kid to talk to. He's got a great family. They're fun to talk to. They came for an official visit during the later part of the season, and he came to camp and dominated at camp. But the way he dominated, didn't just run a 40, didn't just do a DB drill or play some one-on-ones. The energy that he had was really infectious, and you could tell this kid could be a leader. And he's another guy that's reached out to a lot of players in this class to say, you know what, come on, we need you. Come on, this is a great place. They could be the same position he is. He just wants good football players and good guys and good representations of K-State to come here. And so he's got a really good skill set, and he can flat fly, and he's a tough kid. He'll strike you. So we're excited about getting RJ here.
The two JUCO guys, what do you like about those guys?
Yeah. Well, we talked about needing to replace Uso, and so we got Patrick Tackey to come in here. Really did a good job at his community college in Mississippi, and was a really good player on film. And then when we brought him here for an official visit, the maturity matched what we saw on film as far as a guy that plays hard but is a stand-up guy, knows he's not arrived, knows he's got to get stronger, knows he's got to learn how to play at the Division I level. That was really important to us to be able to get that done. And then Jamiri Davis, we were looking for somebody that could come in mid-year, and we needed to work on that really early, meaning when I say mid-year, is that a high school kid? Is it a transfer portal kid? Well, the junior colleges you can kind of sew up, and we needed to find somebody that we could count on, that we could be here. If we go find another one in the portal, we don't know when that would be. Is that going to be sometime in the month of December, sometime in the month of January? But to get JD in here, and he was dominant at the community college level, and so great kid when he came in, great family when he came in. We thought he would fit, and has a skill set to either be really a slot or an outside guy.
You've talked about having to re-recruit your own roster repeatedly. The portal opens on Monday. Is all your attention now to that?
Now it's got to be, to have the great morning that we had, and then at 8:25 when that closes, now we open up the next book, and there's all sorts of conversations happening over the next 3 days, 2.5 days. You guys are hearing some of the things that are coming out already. We won't reconvene as a staff until Friday morning, because some positions have a handful of guys to talk to, some positions have a lot of guys to talk to. It's kind of the nature of the beast right now. We know that we're going to lose some guys. Everybody in the country is losing players to the portal, some for an opportunity, which none of us disagree with, giving kids an opportunity to go play somewhere. Some, it's unfortunately a lot of transactional commitments that it's about what that final dollar amount is. That's not going away anywhere right now, and we understand that. We're trying to be as competitive as we can, with realizing we have to fill more needs rather than front loading something. But that's where's Clint Brown. Guys, last year at this time, my head was spinning. We didn't have Clint Brown here, and we were trying to do this without a director of roster management / GM. Clint's made my life so much easier by having conversations throughout the season, by having conversations now. We have a better handle on a lot of things right now with guys that are going in and guys from our team that are going in and guys from other teams that are potentially going in. There's not a lot of things that get hidden anymore. You guys know that. And so for us, we've got to turn our attention to that quickly by the weekend, because there could be guys on campus as soon as Monday and all the way up until the 22nd, I believe. And then there's a bowl game, and then there's more kids coming on campus when you get back from the bowl game. Then you're going to go home visit. 2026 is the month of January. So when the outside world thinks season's over, time to recharge your battery, I would wonder when that is.
And how will the 105 roster thing affect you?
It's going to affect us. I think the one thing that you saw is we didn't sign as many walk-ons as we typically do. I think it stinks. I think it's awful. I think a lot of people have said that. Control what you can control. We can't control a lot of things of that. One of my frustrations that I've kind of said publicly is there's a lot of people making decisions, and then the football coaches have to fix those poor decisions. And I may get in trouble for it. That's what it is. Here's the decisions. Now you guys go fix the problems. And we need to have a better voice of football coaches. Craig Bull, head of the AFCA. I just moved up the ladder because Neil's gone, so now I'm getting closer to him. We got to keep working on this profession and work for the coaches, because I think a lot of people have a lot of things that they think are in great intentions for the game, but if you don't include us coaches, you're probably missing the boat, and we're missing on some things right now, and that's a huge thing we're missing on. There's not one coach that I know of that I'm close with in the Big 12 that thinks the 105 is a great idea. We don't have any control of that. It's losing opportunities for kids, and I hope the Division IIs and FCS schools really benefit from it, because it's really going to hurt the schools that you and I all know about that count on these guys. And I'm frustrated, but I got to get over my frustration and move on and try to fix that. And we have there's differing times of when you have to do that. We need to get through this stage of bowl prep and stuff before we really dig into that. So,
junior college ranks traditionally you've recruited them for experience,
yep.
But has that changed a lot with the portal now, where you can get guys who are maybe proven at the D1 level?
Yeah, it has. It's hurt the junior colleges, and I think that stinks. The junior colleges and the high school kids are the ones getting screwed by all this, guys, and I think everybody knows that. And it's unfortunate, and that's why it's important to us that we signed 23-plus high school kids, and we're going to have to add some transfers. I know that, but I owe it to the people that played at K-State. And I know we've talked ad nauseum about wins and losses and wanting to win and stuff, guys. If I have to ever go and say I'm going to quick fix this and flip that to 23 transfers and 4 high school kids, I'm going to do something else. I got to do something else, because I still believe in developmental kids. I still believe in getting guys down with True and Troush and building their bodies. And I look at the 6-year kids in our program, and those guys stuck with us, and they had opportunities to go. And that's why the foundation of our locker room is so good, is because of those kids that have been here for so long. And that's hurting college football, and I'm going to try to hang on as long as I can. And there's a lot of us other coaches that are doing that, of trying to predominantly do it the high school way.
Also, is the high school developmental recruiting, is it completely separate now from the portal, or is there?
What do you mean by that, Arnie?
I guess I mean addressing needs.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to know what you're going to need.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I know this was talked about last summer, of should we bump that signing period up to the summer? I think you guys remember that conversation was going on a little bit. That would have been the best benefit in my opinion, for everybody to ensure that you were going to get your high school kids. If we had a, whatever, July 1st or August 1st, whatever date was, I knew we could sign those kids. We knew we were going to have those kids, and you were going to keep those kids. I know coaching changes and stuff would have affected that. I don't have an answer for you, Arnie, on if School X knew that 25 kids were going into the portal after their game on Saturday, if they let go of 6 of those high school kids to save spots for transfers. I don't have that answer. We know we were going to lose some guys to the portal, like every year and like everybody else, but we were so excited that we were going to keep that foundation being built with those high school kids.
Coach, something I noticed about the high schoolers in particular is a lot of them have experience either whether it be winning a state championship or going deep in the playoffs. And
Makes a difference.
you mentioned Dylan, and I think Logan Bartley as well made it pretty deep with his high school. How important is that, and what advantage does that give you guys?
It makes a huge difference that you're playing for, and not everybody can play for a successful program. Not everybody can play for championships every year. It's getting harder at high schools with transfers and stuff at that level. But that experience is a huge factor of, here's a little thing that makes that a huge factor. If I never make the playoffs and I'm a high school kid, I'm done by Halloween. Well, we still have a lot of time left. Those kids are like, wow, we've got another 5 games of football at Halloween plus bowl prep, championships, whatever, CFP. That's a grind for those kids. Some kids are still playing state championships this weekend or last weekend, and they're kind of used to that by now. And that's something that their bodies are probably, and their mental state is used to that. And so there's a lot more benefit of just I played for a winner. I had to practice longer.
Particularly with the defensive backs, 7 in total, and a lot of them are versatile, as you mentioned, can play corner, can play safety. How important was that throughout the process to get guys who can sort of play both?
We know we lose some to graduation this year, and that's a position that you have a chance to play early. You know, Jacob played early, VJ played early, Zayshawn this year played early. You can play early at that position. Plus, you can play on special teams. Mikey, Bergeron, Wesley Fair, even though they're redshirt kids, they played really early on special teams. That's a big factor in that. So I don't know if you can continue to have enough of those type bodies, linebacker, DB type bodies, that can be your core special teams guys. And I'm not telling a DB that weighs 185, boy, you can't play till you weigh 195. Or I'm telling an offensive lineman that's 240, boy, you can't play till you weigh 250. You're an offensive lineman, you probably need to be closer to 300. So it just allows those kids a quicker transition to the field.
Can you touch on JoJo Scott real quick?
Yeah, just a really talented young man that can play corner or safety. He was a really good wide receiver, and another one of those guys from the Florida connection that we're excited to get.